You can feel the energy inside this building and also across the street. The NFL Draft has finally arrived.
With the first pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select.
So it is. The assumed is really happening.
Welcome back. This is the People's GM. I am the People's GM. In case you don't know what we do here, what we do is take over your favorite professional franchises team as the general manager. This week, obviously, with the NFL Draft coming up on Thursday starting at 8 p.m., we are doing the NFL. That's right. I'm the new GM. I'm taking over. Whoever your team is, it's happening. I'm now in charge. We have a great simulator here from PFF, Pro Football Focus. They have a draft simulator that we've been going through. Right now, we're doing the NFC East, starting with, allegedly, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, what do we have to accomplish here? So we're going to go through it. I'm going to give you an idea of what they need, why they need it, but it all starts with the Jones. Jerry and any other Jones, they're out. They're not having control. I'm taking over. Let's dive right in right now. We're going to go to the 2 deep. Now, this is a team that had 0 Pro Bowlers in 2020. So, again, obviously, Dak Prescott goes down with a horrific injury. He's coming back, thank goodness. Franchise quarterback. Zeke's hopefully going to be healthy. Amari's going to be healthy. Gallup's going to be healthy. We did have a bright light in CeeDee Lamb, but we got some work to do. We've got a solid offensive line. We've still got Zach Markins. We've got Collins. We've got Tyrone Smith. Again, we've got receivers. We've got playmakers. Tight end. You know, we got to really see if this is what we want to do. Defensively, again, we've got some work to do. Van Der Esch is great. Again, coming off an injury. Guys were really beat up. We just didn't have a team that was going to make those playoffs. Now, obviously, losing Dak was killer, but we're going to take a look and try to get better across the board. We're going to build from the inside out. We're going to look at those offensive, defensive lines. We're going to take playmakers wherever we can get them. There's going to be a defensive focus here because, frankly, that's what we need. We also have to take a real hard look at this because Garrett Gilbert and Ben DiNucci, as we know, again, hopefully we don't lose Dak again, but if we do, we're in trouble. So we've got to get that resolved first. Let me undo that. We're not doing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We are doing the Dallas Cowboys. You see the settings. You know the drill. Let's jump right in. Draft. Our first pick's coming up at number 10. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Boom. Here we are. We're at number 10. Let's take a real quick peek back, see if anything crazy happened here in the top 9. Nothing too crazy. Kind of as expected. Offensive tackles are off the board. Top cornerback, 4 quarterbacks, a wide receiver, which we don't need. Now, here's what's great. We're in a position where we've got to get better. We've got to get better across the board. Now, right now, we've got a real interesting opportunity here because Kyle Pitts is a dynamic dude. He's kind of a tweener. He's not quite a tight end. He's not quite a receiver, but what he is a playmaker. Now, this is a guy that would be a great addition potentially. However, taking a look, we got 6 trade offers here. We got Mac Jones still on the board. A lot of teams are interested in him. So let's go to the trades and see what options are out there. Man, okay, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers who are trying to move up to number 10 from number 13. This is just how we roll. We're going to go. We're going to say, give us the 13, give us the 47, give us a first rounder next year, draft capital so we can keep building here. We're going to give you the number 10. Is there any chance they accept this trade? I doubt it. Okay. Yeah, no. So, let's take that first rounder off because we're talking about dropping back 3 picks where we're still going to be able to address the myriad of issues that we have. But let's see what else we can squeeze out of them. Let's say a little 4 for 1. Again, that's probably going to be too much. The algorithm, the AI, whatever you want to call it, clearly is not that dumb. But let's try first rounder, second rounder, and a 5th rounder next year. We still get some value. They don't like that. Okay, let's see if we can get 2 picks out of the top 50. in exchange for the number 10. They still didn't like that. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. We're just not going to trade with them. Who else is interested? Minnesota Vikings. Let's get the 14, 78, and the 168 for the 10. Let's go. There it is. Now, that's what I'm talking about. So we dropped 4 spaces. You may be saying, you know, is this really the best thing that we can do? I mean, here's the deal. We've got to get starters. We've got to get probably 4 or 5 starters on that defensive side of the ball. We've got to get contributors on the offensive line. We've got to look at a quarterback down the road for the future / backup. Because, again, Dak's coming off an injury. We cannot be that thin at that position again. So let's see what shakes out. So we've traded our pick to the Minnesota Vikings. Holy jeez. Kyle Pitts still on the board here at 14. Let's see what happened in the picks in front of us. So the Vikings traded up to take Christian Darrisaw, the tackle out of Virginia Tech. Not bad. Gosh, Giants got a steal at receiver, need and a player. Man, Philadelphia gets their quarterback of the future. Chargers stay put. Now again, it's one of those things where you can see we have needs. We need defensive linemen, we need cornerbacks, we need safety, we need a tight end that's going to be a playmaker. But also we got 10 trade offers. So let's go back and take a look. It's kind of crazy talking about trading back twice, except now you can see we've got these extra picks in here. So this is what we need. We need that draft capital to be able to improve this team to where we need to go. Now, it ain't going to be as cheap this time. It doesn't matter that we're moving back 3 spots. So we're going to want the 17 and the 48 and the 200. Now, that's silly. The 167. Let's see if they're willing to make the trade. If they're not, let's take the 167 off. But we've got to get at least a 2-for-1 deal here in the top 50. Which they're willing to do. So we trade back a second time. Things are a little crazy. Jerry Jones is gone. You thought things were going to get quieter, but surprise, they're not. Let's resume the draft, see what happens there with those couple picks. Now let's take a look what they did. So they came up, took a Christian Barmore. Oh, that's my dog walking in. Great defensive lineman out of Alabama. That's smart. Top couple corners. Again, we're back on the board. We're at number 17. These players being available is obscene. I cannot believe they followed this far. We're going to just really have to look at this. You know, again, Kyle Pitts is a guy who is again, he's going to have to. You can see his grades slowly improved over 3 years. I mean, you look at the run after catch. I mean, again, he's kind of one of those things. So he's 6'6", 240, could be a little bigger, could get him a little stronger. He's only 20 though. So again, this is big right here. So, you know, again, it's one of those things where is he a tight end? Is he a receiver? But, you know, he's pretty stinking dynamic. So I think this is a guy that we really got to look at closely. However, we've also got Michael Parsons, who's a super dynamic, really best linebacker, maybe the best defensive player coming out of the draft this year, and Trevin Moehrig coming out of TCU at safety. So this is another time where it would potentially behoove us to drop back again. However, at this point, we got to make plays. We've got to do that. And with that being said, the pick is in. We're taking Trevin Moehrig, safety, out of TCU. So again, fills a need. He's probably the best player at the position. So we really kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We get great value while at the same time able to put a player in a position of need. Now we're back on the clock here. We've got pick 44 and 48. We've got 2 trade offers. We're just going to peek at that. Drop. They want us to drop to 76. That's not going to happen. So we're not going to waste our time there. Let's get right into it. Now this is a great spot yet again. We've got, really tackle. We really need to be looking at interior offensive line. We got to continue to build inside. So Landon Dickerson out of Alabama is definitely a guy we've got our eye on here. Again, look at this PFF grade. Grown man strength. Gotta love that. Big weakness, torn ACL. Got it. Okay. But it's an ACL, right? It's one of those things where these guys are coming back faster and faster. It's not 1999. It's not 2005 where they can't do these things. So again, it's one of those things. There it is. Torso, this is really he's not going to help us right now. This is probably, maybe he contributes late in the season, but he's not going to be in camp. He's not going to be in mini camps. But again, he's a guy that we've got to keep an eye on. The other one is Carlos Basham. So this is a defensive end out of Wake Forest. Again, Not a great grade this year, right? Consistent pocket rusher. Okay, he's whatever. That's great. There it is right there. Often plays like he's 40-pound lighter. So he gets handled a little bit. So again, Marcus Davenport's the comparison. Not a bad comparison. But again, he's a guy. So these two guys are really key. And we're going to scroll down just a little bit more. Right? And again, we've got to pick 4 picks from now. So what we really need to look at is let's really take a look at those edge rushers. So we've got Carlos Basham, and then we have Peyton Turner. So again, little less developed, a little bit more of a project, maybe a little bit more of a ceiling. But again, it's one of those things where we've got to really look at what do we need right now to help us take that next step. And with that, the pick is in. We're going with Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest. Meets a need. He's a defensive end. He's an edge rusher. He's going to help us. We were hoping to maybe sneak and get Landon Dickerson as well, but as you can see, unfortunately, lost him there to the Chargers. Now, again, we did meet that need, and we got one of the top players at the position, so that is great. Now, we're back at it. We're looking at these things yet again. What do we need? So we've addressed we've addressed a couple of those needs, but we still have a big need in that secondary. We're going to need a tight end at some point, but let's take a look at what we've got. So let's look at our tight ends. We're looking at that. Pat Freeman, again, pass catching, really not a blocking type tight end. Tommy Tremble, kind of the opposite, more of really a blocking tight end, not so much a receiving threat. So tight end, we've got some options. Let's take a look at corner. We've got a few that you can see. We've got Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky. Again, high ranking. Let's go ahead and take a look at him versus Tay Gowan. Now again, got all the ratings kind of in the right place. Not great. Good size though, 6'1", 192 pounds. He's a sophomore, so a little bit younger because he missed a year. Again, there it is. Is he going to be a guy that comes in and contributes right away? Probably not, but again, the ceiling is high. Gowan's probably going to be a little bit more NFL ready. I don't know why that didn't load. Okay. He's going to be a little bit more NFL ready, right? Again, didn't get to play this year, so he really only has 1 year. So it's one of those things where it's, okay, did we see enough tape? Is he really who we think he is? The next place we're going to look at is look at that inside defensive interior and really take a look and see if there's anyone that really makes sense here. But again, it's one of those where we've got to balance that need with value. You don't want to take any of these picks. Now, we do have a trade available. Want us to drop down 13 spots, though. That just seems like we're going to give up too much draft position, so we're going to decline that. And with that, the pick is in. We're taking Quinn Meinerz, center out of Wisconsin Whitewater. Now, if you're not familiar with Wisconsin Whitewater, they're a Division III perennial powerhouse. They're in the championship game almost every year. Again, one of those things where the competition is lower, but if you watch the channel, you know what I say. Playmakers come in all shapes and sizes and from places and schools of all shapes and sizes. So again, he's a guy that dominated at his level. He's got the physical intangibles. We picked him up. It just makes sense. Now, we're back on the board here at 75. We've also got pick 78. So let's take a look at what this trade is. They want us to drop down to 111. It's just a little too far, so we're not going to even entertain that. Now again, what do we have on the big board here? We've got Creed Humphrey, center out of Oklahoma, pretty good. Again, probably the same thing, probably a little bit more NFL ready than Martinez out of Wisconsin Whitewater, but that ceiling's not quite as high. And again, we don't need a starter. That's more of a depth pick, so we're not going to look at interior offensive line. Now, Travis Etienne, a dynamic running back, is interesting. We've got one of the best running backs in the league, but let's see who's backing him up. Still got Tony Pollard. It's Tony Pollard. Now, again, this would be easy for us to fall into this kind of idea of like, hey, let's go get us somebody that's a dynamic playmaker. However, we're going to take a look back at tight end. Again, we've got a guy, Tommy Tremble is a blocker, so we're going to keep him in the back pocket. Probably still a teeny bit early. So we really need to be looking at value and need. Now that brings us to these two guys right here, Joe Tyron and Levi Onwuzurike. Definitely not how you say his name, but that's irrelevant. So again, we've already taken one edge rusher, but is it enough? Attacks. Love going right through that, right? Love that. Production profile matching his physical one. So what is that, right? Full in a China shop, no rhythm, no rhyme or reason to some of his moves. So it's one of those things where this guy's got to get coached up, but he clearly has the physical, tangible skills to be able to be a player at that next level. Same thing, right? There it is right there. Impressive grade, 2020 opt-out. So do we love that? No. Are his grades, one of those things? He could have had a year. We just don't know. So again, it's one of those. We also have Tommy Togiai, right? Again, played at Ohio State, played in a lot of big games. Not huge, 6'2", 300, but again, he's continually gotten better. He's off of that Buckeyes defensive line that is coached up by Larry Johnson Sr. Continues to produce really quality kids year in and year out. And with that, the pick is in. We're going with Joe Tyron, defensive end out of Washington. Again, we've got to continue to build that defensive presence there. Continue to put those right pieces in place. Now, we're back up on the clock here, and we're going to take a look at cornerback yet again. Again, we've got to continue to build. We're basically rebuilding. We've got to build depth. We've got to get playmakers there. Now, Trey Brown's a guy out of Oklahoma that a lot of people think have that second round potential, but here's what's happened, right? Slot corner, right? So that's the thing, and man. So, are we going to play enough man where that's really going to be working? He's at a big school. Now, Benjamin St. Juste, again, unique corner, 6'3", 205 pounds, right? Senior Bowl 101s, really came on late in the season, which is great. Wild Goose, again, another guy. Tyson Campbell, same thing. In terms of resume, they're there. But, are they the playmakers we need versus our big board here that has a couple of interior offensive linemen. We've got a wide receiver and another defensive end. Do we take a quarterback here? It's one of those things that we've got to continue to balance that value and need. And with that, the pick is in. That's right. We are going corner. We are going Benjamin St. Juste. We're drafting another corner. We've got to get better on that side of the ball. Now, if you haven't seen this, you'll know each pick will be graded at the end of this by PFF, and then we'll get an overall grade. So you may be sitting there watching saying, I love it, it's great, which obviously you're very smart if you think that, because clearly it is great. I absolutely know what I'm doing. Any NFL team, let me know. Boom, phone's on, call me. I can be anywhere in the country by Thursday to take over for you. Now we're back on the clock, pick 99. We've got another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 more picks after this. So we have quite a bit of draft capital at this point. And so we really can start looking at taking some flyers. Somebody wants us to, Jaguars want us to move back to 106, which is 7 different, but we're going to look at tight end. Again, this is a need area, and so this may even be a reach, but we want to kind of take a look, right? So Hunter Long out of Boston College. So again, he's not a guy that's going to be a game breaker, but he's going to be a starter, which is huge. So we don't need a super dynamic tight end, right? We need a guy that's going to play. Now, Brevin Jordan out of Miami, a little bit different, right? Speed. Yeah, so is he a tight end or is he a big, yeah, right, there it is, right? So, what is he? Now, he's 6'3", 245, but blocking is going to be a thing. So, again, these guys aren't sexy picks, but they are picks that I think would matter. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at these trade options. So, they are going to give us 106. We're going to give them 99. And then the idea is we're going to get a third rounder out of them next year. Is my pick. So if you take a look, we're at round 3, pick 36. So this will move us up in the third round for sure next year. So let's go ahead and offer them that and see what they say. They declined it. Big shocker. Let's see if they'll give up Minnesota's third-round pick next year. There it is. So we've got a third-rounder next year to drop 7 back, which, again, we've got to think about it long-term. So this is good value. I think that's going to grade out pretty well. Now, again, here we are. Very interesting prospect here, Baron Browning. Dax Milne, another wide receiver that would be great. Tyson Campbell's still available. But let's go ahead and go back to that need area, go back to that tight end. Hunter Long, still available. We're at pick 106. You know, this may be a little bit of a reach. I think we may be rated, but it is a need, and we're going to go ahead and take Hunter Long. Now we're back on the clock, pick 115. A lot of options here. So look at all these defensive players here on the big board. So Baron Browning, let's get a little stat on him, right? Micah Parsons, pretty good, right? Elite size speed combo. He's 6'3", 240, fast, stinking aggressive kid. Again, played a lot of snaps, only in 7 games. He's got all the ratings kind of in those sweet spots where, you know, again, we're in the 4th round, right? So we're talking about the 4th round. We're in the 4th round. He's probably right where he should be in terms of that value. So do we add some depth there? He's going to play some special teams for us. We can also look at Monty Rice. This is another guy, right? Great starting point. Have the game slow down for him. So again, this guy misses a lot of tackles, right? Or excuse me, misses a lot of reads, right? Doesn't miss tackles though. So there it is right there, right? So it's kind of one of those things where he's not great in coverage, but he's a guy that can come in and play right away. With that being said, the pick is in. We're taking Monty Rice. A little bit more ceiling. You know, again, he's one of those guys where we just think he's going to contribute right away in a special teams role. And long term, he could be a rotational starter for us. So we've got to continue to build that depth. This is an easy one, frankly. I'm going to be real honest. The pick is in. We're taking Shaun Wade. He's a player. He's coming out of Ohio State. He's a corner, which we need. It just makes sense. We're taking him again. Taking another Ohio State Buckeye. Now, what do we have left? We've got 5 picks left. We've got opportunity. Right now, here we are, 5th round, and now is the time. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see if we can find that backup of the future, right? So usually you're looking for a backup or a quarterback of the future, or maybe a hybrid. You know, we want Dak. Dak's young. Hopefully he's coming back 100% healthy, but we learned our lesson. We've got to have a guy who can come in and play and win stinking games for us, not just manage them. So we've got some great options here. You know, the kid out of SMU, Shane, is great. He's really just likes to throw the ball around like a crazy person. Ellinger's probably the most kind of well-rounded. Franks, let's see what they have to kind of say about it. Right. Pure arm strength. So he's a big dude, 6'6", kind of your typical, for whatever reason, typical Arkansas quarterback. You know, he's like Ryan Mallett all over again. So again, there's not a ton of upside there, I don't think. But it's also one of those where you want a guy who can come in and win some games right away. So Shane at SMU is probably the most upside. And with that said, the pick is in. We're taking Ian Book. Well, yeah, a little bit of a surprise. Didn't even talk about him, but we're taking Ian Book. Ian Book is a guy that got continually better over the last 3 years, and you know, is a guy that can come in and win for us right away. So hopefully he's under a 5-year contract. He's gonna be there. Hopefully Dak's healthy. He doesn't have to, but he's gonna come in and manage those things and win us some games if and when we need him to. All right, so here we are, back on the clock, pick 179. We're in the 5th round. We're late in the 5th round. You know, now again is one of those things where we got to continue to look at value. So when I see that, I see Noah Gray still on the board. Again, a 6'4", 240-pound tight end, 7th round undrafted, right? Too small to be an inline, not kind of whatever. So he's a little bit of a tweener, but again, you know, it's one of those things where we're going to keep an eye out. It's probably a little early now for him. What we do love is Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. Again, has unteachable movement skills for a bigger back. Okay. That's whatever. Tank of a running back. Super thick build. Okay. I mean, again, it's a little bit one of those where it's like, They don't love what he did. He was productive. And so with that, the pick is in. Shocker. We're taking Stevenson, okay? We need a little something different again. He's another special teams guy, which you'll see this kind of common theme of we need to improve our depth and get better on special teams. And he's also a guy that can spell Zeke every once in a while and gives us a different look than Pollard does. Now, here we are. Pick 192. We got 2 more after this. We got to just keep grinding away and keep getting better. Now, what's great here is we've got some real good options. We've got Ernest Jones, the linebacker out of South Carolina. Right? Look, there it is. Again, not a great coverage guy, but a guy that could maybe kind of learn to do that. We've got Herring, the guard out of BYU. Again, this is about where he should be picked. But the pick is in. We're taking Larry Borom again, project tackle, but a guy with a high ceiling. And again, we want to continue to build that depth, that offensive line. That's taken us where we've gotten, and we want to continue to build that. We're not just going to look back on it like, hey, we're complacent and whatever we're doing there. So we're not going to do that. Now we've got 2 more picks here. We're late. We're round 6, pick 43. A lot of these guys. Now here's what's great. I mean, again, I'm sorry. This is another easy one. Derek Forrest is a guy. Again, their grades, I just don't know if I really agree with those. Played at Cincinnati, made a bunch of big plays. So this is a guy, again, playmaker. Lots of shapes and sizes. With that said, the pick is in. It's Derek Forrest. No shock there. Got 1 pick to go. Let's see who we've got on the board. See if we can't steal a little something here late in the game. We got KJ Britt available, which is an interesting one. You've got Bohanna, the defensive interior D-tackle guy out of Kentucky. Big kid, plays kind of nose tackle style. And then Taron Jackson, a little bit more project-y, Coastal Carolina. Again, littler school, kind of things like that. With that said, you know it. The pick is in. We are going to take Bohanna. Big kid, run stuffer, thinks it's, I'm going to say that's a pretty great value there. So we'll see what PFF has to say here. So let's go through the grades. Number 1, first of all, wow, they did not love our first round so far. Wow, that is surprising. Overall, a B, giving up the 10th pick to get 3 picks, 1478 and 168. So you see that right there. Better graded, moving back 3 spots to get those 2. Again, I would maybe kind of inverse those, maybe go B+ and a B. Trevin Merring's going to be a great player for us. He fills a need. He's super talented. I don't know why they're giving him a B-, but whatever. Then we filled that defensive edge position with Basham, A-. Again, Quinn, the center out of Wisconsin, Whitewater. Again, competition was questionable. I think that's a little bit harsh. Again, I think he's a guy that's going to develop and be great for us, but to each their own. Again, we got another edge rusher because, again, we have to build that defensive line. We got to get after the quarterback. We got to make plays. We got to get our offense the ball. And just no surprise there. Again, great value at 78, A-. Same thing, Hunter Long. Again, fills a need, good quality. A-. A B, I mean, again, we're building capital for next year. So we've got a 3rd rounder for next year. We move back 7 spots, which, again, I think that, which we got Hunter Long with. So, again, I think that's a little bit of a low rating, but to each their own. So we did get that extra draft capital for next year. Again, a guy that's going to come in and play. Sean Wade's going to compete. Ian Book, they probably didn't like that because, again, Dak is so young and we're going to hang on to them. But, again, we're looking at it from that perspective of if someone has to play. Also, we need that long-term backup that's really got some potential to help us. Stevenson, again, kind of the same thing. I think he needs some coaching, but he's behind, again, one of the best backs in the NFL. So, again, I think that's a little underrated. And then my 3 favorite picks right in there. Great value. Tackle who's going to get in and mix it up. Derek Forrest is going to compete for the roster spot. Same thing with Bohanna. No surprise here. A- overall rating. Not surprising. Again, solid draft. Got a little capital for next year. Got some starters. Got guys that are going to mix it up. I think that this was about as good as it could have gone. PFF says could have went a little bit better, but it went pretty stinking good. So, that being said, this is your Dallas Cowboys 2021 mock draft. The real draft is Thursday, starting at 8 p.m. Tune in. I'll be giving my minute-by-minute, kind of moment-by-moment feedback on what all these teams do. We're doing the NFC East. Next up, I believe, are the Philadelphia Eagles. So tune back in for that. Remember, I am the People's GM. Tune in. We're going to do all 32 teams. Are all going to be up before Thursday so you can see what these cats should do.